It shouldn't come as a huge surprise that there is some seriously messed up content available on the internet today. And while I have never had 1 ounce of desire to visit the deep web, thanks to our good friends at Reddit, I've got some disturbing stories for you today. Welcome back everyone, my name is Kennedy, and today on Most Amazing we are taking a leap into the untold stories of the deep web. So buckle up, because this is the top 10 messages from the deep web that will haunt your dreams. Warning, it gets a little gross. Starting us off at number 10, a service. This one comes from Reddit user Thisser2, and they start off by explaining that they used to surf the deep web, where would-be hackers and cybersecurity specialists gathered in order to learn a thing or two. While we can only hope they were on the site to use their powers for good, they explain that they encountered plenty of run-of-the-mill information and ID theft, but that the scariest encounter was with one hacker in particular offering up a unique service, which our Reddit friend knew immediately could not have been good news. Upon reading the advertisement, they came to understand that the service was that someone could pay to have a certain type of illegal, immoral, or illicit video uploaded onto another person's computer. The hacker would then report that person to the police, who after a computer search would presumably be arrested. So essentially framing someone for what I can only assume involves a video of, let's call it, a vulnerable person in a compromising position, which is beyond disgusting. Lastly, the user said, quote, "The scariest part was discovering that there were at least 2 people in the chat room that I was in discussing about kernel security who had used that service." Coming in at number 9, a friendly warning. So this next one is simultaneously creepy, but also sort of kind in a weird sort of way. I mean, it's one of those situations where it could have been much worse as far as the crazy stuff that goes on in the deep web. According to a Reddit user, ErnieC377, quote, "A friend of mine claims he was snooping around where he didn't belong, like black market forums and hacking forums, when someone private messaged him basically saying, quote, 'I've looked into you because I see you in here a lot, and I know you're not here to buy or use the services because you're just a kid. I don't mind, but others will, and you haven't protected yourself well enough to be here. Get off if you know what's good for you.'" See what I mean? Like, this warning was from someone who claims to have already hacked into their info, thus why they know that they are a vulnerable member of the population, but at least they're trying to get them to leave before someone worse tries to take advantage of them, I guess. Coming in at number 8, a casual surf. This one comes from a account called fake_fakington, so, you know, read into that however you choose. But I will say, in terms of stories, this one does sound like something that would and could happen. This Reddit user begins by recounting their experience on the early days of the internet, specifying that the deep web was not really a term yet, as, quote, "Everything was deep." They then go on to explain that they were casually surfing when they stumbled upon something odd and cryptic. Through a series of internet maneuvers, they were able to make their way through the rabbit hole to a directory of what appeared to be records a psychologist or similar mental health professional would keep. Quote, "The images were of faxes, apparently of both military and medical nature. While browsing these files, the user noticed something strange. A new HTML file named something like 1hello-there.html. However, the creepiest part was that the timestamp was from the exact second. Quote, "I opened it and in plain text was the message, 'We see you.' No quotes, all lowercase. About 15 seconds later, the server dropped. Sometimes in obscure places on the internet, just being seen is scary enough." Coming in at number 7, slow internet. Our next disturbing message was posted to Reddit by user Semper_Fi_Cerberus, and if I were them, this would definitely stop me from wanting to snoop around the deep web any further. Quote, "It was my 3rd time on the deep web, and I was just looking around at sites. I found this one guy's homepage, and on the sidebar I saw a link that said, 'For journalists and people new to the deep web.' I clicked on it, hoping that it was interesting interesting and helpful information. Now, I'll pause right there because I'm not entirely sure what they were expecting. I can only imagine that they were young and genuinely believed that a pop-up would lead them to a helpful article. They continue on, quote, "A new page opened and a picture started to load. Thank God for my slow internet because all that loaded was the head of an old Asian man with blood on his chin. I quickly closed the tab before the rest of the image loaded. To this day, I wonder what the whole picture was, but at the same time, I am thankful I didn't see it. I'm gonna say it was probably bad. Reddit friend, very, very bad." Coming in at number 6, drawings. This next one comes from the user Sakioku Sha, and they start off by explaining they weren't looking for anything in particular, but were just curious about what might be on the deep web. So I can only imagine their horror when they came across this. According to our Reddit friend, what they came across was the actual website of a killer who was later arrested for his crimes. To be clear, this wasn't a site about them, it was like their website to advertise what they did. The user explains, quote, "The site featured mainly the killer's own drawings, which depicted killer stuff, which won't be detailed here. Let's just simplify it as gruesome killing and subsequent mutilation of bodies." And just when you thought it couldn't get any more disturbing, Reddit user says, quote, "Though some drawings were simple and crude, others were more lifelike, and all the more disturbing because of it. Eventually, one of the killer's actual photos was loaded, which depicted, let's call them trophies. There were about half a dozen trophies in various stages of decomposition displayed on a shelf." Coming in at number 5, cooking instructions. This next one comes from Reddit user Bacon Boy Loiter and is without a doubt already a nightmare I have had. As is true of pretty much all these stories today, our user begins by explaining that they stumbled across this post on the dark web when they were bored and were, as they put it, dicking around, which I can only hope is true. Now, at first glance, they wanted to believe this was a joke. However, they quickly realized the information was far too detailed and too comprehensive to be the work of a prankster. Quote, "We found a comprehensive guide for cooking women." And yes, that sounds as bad as you'd think. This page had information on what body types to use for specific cuts, how to prepare these cuts, and how to cook the girl so she lives as long as possible. It horrifies me that people way worse than the freaks on Criminal Minds exist. You and I both, Bacon Boy Loiter. You and I both. Coming in at number 4, lunch meetups. So if you thought Bacon Boy Loiter's story was the strangest and most disturbing incident of humans interested in other humans, then just wait for this one. This is like a Criminal Minds episode meets Hannibal Lecter's fantasy. So apparently there is a very large forum on the deep web all for people interested in other people, but not necessarily for dating, rather for devouring. From the sounds of this story in particular, the message gives off the vibe that it's some kind of fetish, but not on behalf of the attacker, on behalf of what we would normally call the victim of an act of this nature. According to this Reddit user, they apparently witnessed members of this forum chat arrange meetups to enjoy each other's flesh. One message in particular read, "I need someone to eat my fresh meat. I am juicy and tender. So yeah, I may never sleep again, and please excuse me while I go vomit, thank you." Coming in at number 3, dancing. No matter how curious I get, I can assure you I would never ever want to see what this next Reddit user stumbled upon. I mean, just reading about it and knowing it exists is more information than I would have ever wanted. According to this next post from Metal Lava, they stumbled across this woman's channel on a video hosting site and were never the same again. Quote, "Some lady posted all these videos of her dancing with this corpse, all rigid, caked up like a corpse. She put on weird music and danced around and sang to it in her room. I mean, what in the Criminal Minds sicko was happening with this woman? And if that weren't bad enough, apparently the corpses in these videos were not what one might call new. there was visible decaying. However, according to our scarred Reddit user, they say, quote, the worst part was her singing. She sang to the corpse as she danced, and not in any intentionally creepy way. No warbled, slowed down little demon girl melody, just your average, joyful, loving song to a rotting corpse. I guess the question is, where did she find these corpses? Did she also kill them? If so, I can only hope she was caught and sent to jail. Coming in at number 2, evil scientists. Among the other atrocities that you can find in the darkest corners of the internet are apparently forums and footage containing disturbing content that rivals the evil scientists from World War II. Why anyone would be inclined to perform such tasks, or on the flip side want to see someone commit such atrocities, is beyond me, but you know, as we have read about in history books, some people are just messed up. According to the Reddit post they found, quote, grotesque acts such as starvation, radiation exposure, sterilization, and worse were all over the site. Even the slogan of the site is anger-inducing. It apparently reads, quote, not all humans are equal, for some of them were born superior to others. I mean, you can't tell me that's not giving the same energy as a certain 1940s dictator and his army of followers. And we all know what kind of messed up experiments he allowed to happen. All I can hope for is that whoever is posting this disgusting and vile content is caught and sentenced to a life behind bars. And last up in our number 1 spot, Squid Games. As if plucked straight from the dark and sinister writings of the hit Netflix show, there is reportedly a deep website that offers a sort of gambling game to those looking to get somebody killed, which is insane. According to a now deleted Reddit post, they were shocked to stumble across a place where names of potential victims are posted publicly, and other users will make bets about when the target, as they so disturbingly describe them, will die. From there, to make matters even more morbid, once the victim is dead, whoever was the bidder to most accurately guess the time of death will win the pool of money. And when it comes to the black market, you can only imagine how much money these people could be receiving. Like, actually, what is wrong with people? I have to hope that this Reddit user reported this site to the authorities or something, because otherwise, even if they weren't technically participating in the gambling aspect, they were just watching other people literally plot to kill innocent victims. Well, that's all I've got for you today, friends. I don't know about you, but any curiosities I had about the deep web have been quickly laid to rest after learning all of that. Not that I was eager to get on there in the first place, but hey. As always, if you liked this video, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you next time.